Thank you, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the AGM for Regen Farmers Mutual. I'm coming to you from Awabakal and Darkajing country on the central coast of New South Wales. I welcome you wherever you are, and I pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. What I'd like to share with you today is a quick slideshow. Regen Farmers Mutual's third or fourth, actually, AGM, as we were founded in 2021. We had 22, 23, and 24. I don't believe there's any apologies, but welcome to all of you. Last year, the last AGM was held, I think it was the November last year, and these are the minutes from that meeting. Would anybody be able to approve the meeting minutes from 2023?
Yeah, I was at that meeting. I think true and correct.
Thank you, Kim. I don't know if we need a seconder.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Stephen. We've received no proxies, and I'll just quickly take you through the CEO report. A lot of this builds on the success of Regen Digital and Regen Farmers Mutual, like a hand-in-glove relationship. We have, in the last 12 months, actually completed 6 landscape impact programs, 4 in New South Wales, 2 in Victoria. And as mentioned, we've got a pipeline of further deals. We've been really excited to see that the first landscape impact program that was held in the Trap Rock has yielded the first CER registered projects in the avoided clearing method. And we expect ACCUs to be delivered to those 7 farmers over the next 25 years. It's a very exciting project. It's also unearthed box gum grassy woodlands certification and credit methodologies, and a whole bunch of other learnings that we've fed into the recent 6 landscape impact programs. During the past 12 months, we were one of 4 registered project advisors. We're registered partner advisors with the Victorian government, running the Victorian Carbon Farming Pilot Program. This enabled us to work with a bunch of farmers on the southern side of the Murray Inland Delta and provide to them an initial feasibility using the VCFP and ERF in combination. 8 out of 10 of those farmers might find a feasible opportunity that would rehydrate landscapes and produce carbon benefits. We're also really excited and can demonstrate in Victoria how landscape stories and farm stories help to illustrate in data terms what's happening in farms. And that functionality through Regen Digital is growing to include New South Wales and Queensland soon. In terms of farmer opportunities, I apologize. I don't know why that has just moved over to the bank. But we've got Boxgum Grassy Woodlands Biodiversity Certification and Credit Scheme, which the Land Restoration Fund has paid ANU in order to develop. And we will now test that with market and supply in terms of the farmers. We've also been involved with Department of Agricultural, Forestry and Fisheries federally, traceability in the beef supply chain grants, Grant 1 and Grant 2. The Grant 1 has concluded, and we've been able to record videos and are just about to do some PR around that work. Grant number 2, now that we know how to collect and aggregate verified claims for carbon emissions and biodiversity and then present them as a dashboard, we need to understand who gives a shit. And so the reason for the second grant is to actually test various claims with the marketing department, the risk department, and the operation departments of financial organizations, insurance organizations, and the supply chains. We're very excited by the opportunity to connect what we do in landscapes with traceability, and we are calling that the supply shed strategy. Initially, we are pitching the supply shed strategy into Victoria in the Granite Goulburn and working with the likes of the beef supply chain to fund that over the next couple of years. But we would like to see that go commodity and also roll out a supply shed agreement in grains, canes, and cotton. We're very excited to see the evolution of Regen Digital move from the Farm OS system into our own native system and combine all that visual value of the landscape and farm stories. In terms of financial report, the big lift in our financial performance has come from the winning of several grants, that Victorian Carbon Farming Program, the Beef Traceability Program, and importantly, the New South Wales Primary Industry Productivity and Abatement Program. Employee benefits are basically my salary and remain the same. What we have done is come up with another small loss. Cumulatively, we've had 2 losses, and we're able to bear that because we have cash flow. Sitting at the end of the financial year, the balance sheet showed a deficit of $102,000, but we have cash in bank at that point of $196,000, and today we have cash in bank of about $300,000. Additionally, we're holding on to monies from that New South Wales grant and expect further monies before the end of this calendar year and early in the financial year. The key items, revenue growth, as mentioned, comes from that New South Wales grant and the Victorian grant. We have had some major expenses relating to the contractors. So that is farmer stipend, working team stipend, payments to Regen Digital, payments to legal, PR, etc., which support those grants and the New South Wales program. Very much looking forward to next year's landscape impact programs. There's sort of 2 paths that we're heading in. One is to make a locally facilitated, self-facilitated program that can be rolled out to farmer populations in local regions really easy. And the other one is to load up the landscape impact program with farmers to include other stakeholders, traditional owners, public lands, non-farming private landholders, and then not just catalyze a multi-stakeholder landscape plan, but to take that through to catalysts and the creation of local economic action networks and bringing in value chain coordination so that the local economy could perhaps support development that's happening in the environment which supports it. We're super excited that recently the Digital Finance CRC has agreed to essentially fund Pollination to go out and raise the collective Regen Group, $51 million. The working thesis at the moment is that 45 million of that 51 will be put into fences, tree guards, trees, and similar projects that will ultimately yield carbon. But that 3 million will go to Regen Digital and 3 million to RFM to continue to build the pipeline that the fund will later service. In terms of how to think about that, one of the things that's worth mentioning is that we're trying to generate a stream of carbon. So we need to find buyers who need to buy carbon. They are typically coal, oil, and gas that come under the safeguard mechanism. Those large miners are used to the concept of investing in junior miners that have got promising, mineral samples, but need tens of millions of dollars to dig a big hole. Well, we're positioning ourselves as a similar sort of proposition where we need tens of millions of dollars, but instead of withdrawing ore out of a big hole, we'll be producing carbon dioxide emissions out of the growing of trees. And just like a junior miner, we need that startup capital and the payback for the people who've invested is a royalty on the ore, or in this case, the ACCUs. And we are looking at the Australian Impact Exchange as being a mechanism that can not only fund that 45 million that kicks us off, but looking realistically, it's got, it could 10x or 100x the amount of funding that is required over the next 5 to 10 years. And so having a mechanism that doesn't require us to continue to go back to market, but enables us to raise 50, 500, 5 billion over time in order to invest in our mining operation is a good idea. Mate, I think I'm going to hang this to Jim. Jim, have you got access to the slideshow that I sent you yesterday? And
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah,
through?
I do. If you can just let me share my screen.
Yeah, I've just made you a co-host then.
That's the one.
Sorry, at this point in the proceedings, I'm asking James Campbell, the chair of the Members Council, to share with you a Members Council update. Up you go, mate.
All right. Can you see that?
We can.
Okay. Oh, thanks, Woody. So very quickly, given most of us on this call are on the member council, certainly have a little bit to do with it. Just a few topics to run through here. What it's essentially what have we done? I think starting with sort of personal highlights. We were fortunate to be part of the STAR, or the Southern Tablelands Active Restoration Pilot 10. It was an excellent experience because it actually made us commit, so to speak. So sort of off the balcony on the dance floor. So we went through with that process. And I should shout out to Christoph, who supported us, as well as Jeff Kay, another member of the Pilot 10. But we've ended up registering an 80-hectare ERF program for environmental plantings under an ERF pilot. So we just snuck in there just before the closure or sunsetting of the environmental plantings method. It's now back up, but in a bit of a different guise. So I think, from a highlight perspective, much like many of you, I jumped on the RFM bus pretty early on, and it's been a bit of a buzz seeing the progression, of the organisation. As Wardy said, 6 landscape impact programs and a strong pipeline, with grants supporting, everything from capital raising to really good tech. So, it is a genuine pleasure to be part of this. Unfortunately, I can't always attend these member councils, but certainly when I am there and when I have been there, I've always left, feeling rather energized, because this this show that we've got going here is really taking some excellent steps. So, full kudos to everyone, not, the executive, for one, but certainly all of the support that makes this a genuinely collaborative organisation. I think, these other points here are really, testament for the executive and board for, doing what they said they would do through 2024. Having new directors has been key, and obviously there was a little while or a gap between governance, really taking form, but now that it has, it's excellent. The business is growing up. Luke was mentioned in the the Regen Digital AGM. I'm still yet to shake Luke's hand, but certainly, you know, he has been the difference. You know, particularly with I think that the term was internalizing software and really, you know, creating that confidence in the business to go forward and you know, and utilize really strong technology all the way through to AI, and you know, turning data into information, because really that's what this is about. You can have all the data in the world, but unless it can be interpreted properly and built upon and utilized to drive value, you know, it becomes questionable. So, you know, the real theme of what Luke has achieved to date has been, you know, supporting that data becoming information through those various streams. We've mentioned the landscape impact projects. You know, pretty exciting that Traprock's actually generating ACCUs, and when we'll do so soon. The environmental plantings, as I mentioned, that's you know, that's been, you know, done in the Southern Tablelands, and with any luck, you know, hopefully we see producers looking at others that are taking these sort of early steps and enjoying success, and then jumping on, you know, as sort of as early movers, so to speak. So we've sort of got when we sort of term the bleeding edge and the cutting edge, and I think we're well beyond that. We're kind of moving into that hopefully mainstream once we start seeing some success stories and really utilizing the you know, the projection of or advertising you know, these sort of success stories. A code of conduct was implemented, always an important thing. I think it was brought through necessity, but you know, it's important. I think, you know, what I have found with this group is that governance hasn't taken a back seat. Sometimes you do see this with organisations, that these sorts of things do tend to be sidelined, but it is very good to see. Anyone who is on the call that's not on the members' council, you know, it's essentially you know, renewed annually, and so if there's any interest in that, you know, the path is very straightforward. Understand the code of conduct, complete an application form by 6 December. So not very long, but not very long to complete the form, but it's also not a very long form. They become reviewed, appointees notified by the 31st of December, ensure there's no conflicts, and then join the council. It's a very broad church, this one. What I like about it is that it enables, you know, good access to the executive. They are listeners. I would certainly say that. And I think I have found that from a feedback perspective, it's always hit the mark, and it's always been delivered in a professional sort of way. But equally, you know, Rowan and Wardy are always very organised when we attend these you know, these calls, and that's important too. So it is not a talk fest. It is not something that should be taken lightly, and it is still unpaid. So you're doing it for love, but there's a fair bit to love around here. So I think that's important. Wardy, that's probably all I've got. Is that good for you?
That's perfect. If you want to stop share, I'll jump back into the agenda. Rowan, is there something you were going to say then? Oh.
Nope.
So, oh shit, I've got your chair report. What I was going to suggest to you is that I get onto the right AGM. So the members' council, as Jim was saying, it is meant to be that conduit between the membership and the mutual. We've been incredibly blessed by a strong members' council. We need to make it stronger, and more engaged with the membership and let our members know of the need for them to inform us about how to run the business. Last thing to do is to approve the 2024 annual report and financial statements. And I guess at this point, I had them up on screen. Has anybody got any questions or concerns before I put it to a motion about Regen Farmers Mutual's financials and or operating logic and or, governance or concerns? No, well,
I take that as an approved.
I'd like to pass the motion then or I'd like to nominate the motion that we approve the annual reports for financial reports for 2024. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. Well, before I call this meeting to a close, I'd like to welcome 2 new board members to the Regen Farmers Mutual board. And I'd particularly like to welcome Jack MacArthur and Liz Evans, who are going to bring some much needed gender balance to our governance at Regen Farmers Mutual. You probably heard me talk about this last year about the need to increase our female representation on the board. And well, more than just being females, Jack and Liz bring a wealth of experience and a wealth of commitment to the cause. And I ask you, Liz, if you'd like to introduce yourself to the others and then hand the torch to Jack, that would be great.
Thanks, Forty. Yeah, it's a pretty big week. As we all know, COP29 is happening right at the moment, and the world's trying to decide how they're going to finance some of the damage that's already been done by carbon dioxide and our industrial way of life. So it's a pretty important time, I think, for the world. I think we've already hit 1.5 degrees. That's sort of locked in. So our next purpose is to try and reduce carbon emissions as much as possible. So the purpose here and the cause of Regen Farmers Mutual really is a very good one. I think the guys, especially Wardy and Rowan in particular, have done an amazing job getting this group together. We've been here from the start, and we've really enjoyed working with you. As James said, it's a broad church, and I think we all bring something different to the table, which is excellent. I'm really pleased to see over the last 12 months, the landscape impact programs develop and getting some good funding coming in has been fantastic. So really looking forward to the next 12 months and very happy to be invited on the board. So thanks very much, everyone. Over to you, Jack.
Well,
Thanks, Liz. Yes, I'm honoured to be offered this opportunity. I'm part of a farming a partnership at Wambuta in the Murray Inland Delta. Also a former financial journalist and work for international and local conservation groups. That background has led me to be involved really from the ground floor with Regen Farmers Mutual, because there is so much potential here for a landscape scale approach for community wealth building, and also farmers are notorious price takers. Is this our chance to have buying and selling power in the market, and to be a really positive intervention in these emerging and reforming markets, but also have a say in what happens as supply chains change rapidly as well. So I can see a lot of work and a lot of potential, and these are the type of people that I'd like to stick around with as we go on this adventure.
Welcome and thank you, Jack and Liz. Any other questions or potentially questions for Jack and Liz from the floor, or any other comments from any of the members here today? Without further ado, I'd like to close the AGM for Regen Farmers Mutual 2024 and welcome you back to the next AGM, which must happen before the 30th of November 2025. But knowing our luck, we'll raise 50 million and need an extraordinary general meeting, and that'll be a time to probably get us all together and have a big old shindig in person and another Trading in Regen event. Thank you everyone for your time.
Thank you.
Scotty.
Thank you.
Brown.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Did I forget to press record?
No, it's recording now.
There we go.